Yeah, hi, Neil. It is exactly a little bit more focused. In fact, the indictment itself, about 10 pages shorter than the original indictment from last year. So the same four core charges are included on this indictment. The reason that Donald Trump was re-indicted, if you will, is because the Supreme Court came back somewhat in his favor on July 1st of this year, telling Jack Smith, the special counsel, essentially in layman's terms, you need to go back and rethink about your case before District Judge Tanya Chutkan. This was supposed to go to trial on March 4th, but it was delayed because of the Supreme Court. So while all of these four core charges stay here relating to Donald Trump, the man and the candidate, some of the officials, like Jeffrey Clark, the former DOJ official, have been taken out, and this is a much more focused indictment. I also want to point out, Neil, that this is dealing with a new grand jury, so this grand jury did not hear anything about the other indictment from last August 1st of 2023. They only heard the facts in this case. What does this mean? Likely we're not going to see any type of trial before the election. Jack Smith, the special counsel, and Donald Trump's lawyers will be in court next week here in Washington, D.C. to talk about the path forward. But really, there would be no path forward unless Jack Smith did this today and really tightened up that indictment. And that's why we are where we are, Neil.
Special counsel Jack Smith filed a new indictment Tuesday against Donald Trump over his efforts to undo the 2020 presidential election that keeps the same criminal charges but narrows the allegations against him following a Supreme Court opinion that conferred broad immunity on former presidents. The new indictment removes a section of the indictment that had accused Trump of trying to use the law enforcement powers of the Justice Department to overturn his election loss, an area of conduct for which the Supreme Court, in a 6-3 opinion last month, said that Trump was absolutely immune from prosecution. The stripped-down criminal case represents a first effort by prosecutors to comply with a Supreme Court opinion likely to result in a significant revision of the allegations against Trump over his efforts to block the peaceful transfer of power. It was filed 3 days ahead of a deadline for prosecutors and defense lawyers to tell the judge in the case how they wanted to proceed in light of that opinion, which said former presidents are presumptively immune from prosecution for official White House acts. The two sides will be back in court for a status hearing next week, the first such appearance in months given that the case had been effectively frozen since last December as Trump's immunity appeal worked its way through the justice system. In a statement on his Truth Social platform, Trump called the new indictment an act of desperation and an effort to resurrect a dead witch hunt. He said the new case has all the problems of the old indictment and should be dismissed immediately. The special counsel's office said the updated indictment, filed in federal court in Washington, was issued by a grand jury that had not previously heard evidence in the case. It said in a statement that the indictment reflects the government's efforts to respect and implement the Supreme Court's holdings and remand instructions.